Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. Boy, they have cutting-edge building materials, everything you could possibly want. Synthetic stucco, waterproofing, drainage, Nudura concrete forms. All of these things make your project stronger, safer, more energy efficient, more cost efficient. You know, we talk about them being around for 100 years. Actually, I think it's 102 now, or 103. But we talk about that. It's the future that they're about. Yes, their history speaks to how good they are, but your future projects need to go through these folks with all their cutting-edge materials. aghines.com to learn more. All right, let's welcome in the next wave of panelists right here. We have from 99.1 The Sports Animal. Now on the Sports Talk, the morning show, Vince Ferrara. Vince, thanks for being here.
Great to be here.
Right over here, my VFLs. Former quarterback Sterling Henton, former lineman Daniel Hood. You played offensive lineman and defensive line while in your time at Tennessee. And tight end. Okay, I'd forgotten that. There we go. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. We talked in that last segment. Look, I know that Joe Milton is your starting quarterback. I know that you don't want to diss the starter. At the same time, you get a freshman, $8 million, 5-star, top ranked in the country. Everybody wants to talk about that. So we're going to do another segment here where we talk about Nico, and I want to get your guys' take. Quarterback, what'd you think of him?
I think he's ahead of the game as a freshman. I mean, the blessing that he has to be able to come in early and get all that stuff underneath his feet and learn the plays and even learn how to call a play, you know, and get in the huddle and direct the team. I mean, he's got 4 months of that already. You know, most guys come in August, you got maybe 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So he's ahead of the game. I love the way he commanded the huddle, the way he went out there and controlled and with those progressions. I was impressed.
He has his top 4 receivers out yesterday. That had to be a challenge as well. Nothing against the guys behind them, but there's a reason the top 4 are the top 4. You take them off the field, it's going to be harder to have the connections. Now, we don't know who he's been running with in practice all the time, but still, I think he deserves credit for that as well. All the quarterbacks do.
Well, what's amazing is that, you know, he didn't have his top 4 receivers, but the top DBs were in there. So, you know, you got a difference in there with the way the plays he actually developed. And he made some throws that were some tight squeezes. And, man, he showed some things to make me smile out there yesterday.
Liked his upside. Daniel, your thoughts on Nico Iamaleava?
I thought he had a great spring game for what you would expect a freshman to do. And he really reminded me of a young Josh Dobbs. Because I remember when Josh came in, seems like what we were just talking about last segment with kind of the size of him, needs to put on muscle, needs to put on weight, but he's got kind of that little X factor. He's got that movement in the pocket. He's got that where he can escape. And I know those are huge shoes to fill, but it looks like he's got a skill set that's going to translate well to what Heupel wants to do. And it looks like he's got just that touch on his pass to really put it right where he wants it.
Well, the touch is on display on that throw to Ethan Davis down the sideline.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an absolute dime. And to do that while you're escaping the pocket, keep looking down the field. Remember, that's something that Henton Hooker got better at as his career went on, that they worked on. Is not just escaping the pocket to run, but to continue to look down the field. Later in career, he was able to make plays by throwing, and he showed that early on. And Sterling is right. The fact that he got in there before the bowl game and got all those practices in, I mean, it's such a head start, and they need that because he is the number 2, so he has to be ready. Showed dynamic in-pocket movement and decision-making. He didn't look like he was lost. He didn't know what he was doing. Yeah. We got to keep in mind he was running with the 2 offense versus generally the 2 defense. So we want to get, you know, give him the Heisman Trophy or anything. Yeah. But I think it's very encouraging for that first game.
Yeah, I forgot. I think Jimmy said it. One of the guys said it in that first segment. It's not that you saw a finished product out there.
Right.
But you definitely saw the reason he was ranked where he was ranked. You saw the potential. And like I say, those people who said, boy, he's awfully raw. Okay, I get that. But he didn't look to me, just my view, I didn't think he looked like a guy that's 2 years away.
Right.
I thought he looked like a guy, if something went bad and he got thrown into the mix this year, I don't know that we'd be looking at a Nathan Peterman moment, I guess is what I'm looking at.
God, I hope not. That still hurts.
So, I mean, like your first spring game as a quarterback. How did that compare? I mean, that's a good example. That would have been what, 1987?
7. But the luxury I had a whole year before
right,
I played my first spring game. But I can reflect back to my first time stepping in the huddle and messing up the play call. It's not flip, double, it's flip right, double, ZJ. I'm sorry, coach. Well, we got 24 seconds. I mean, it's a lot going on. And
24 seconds.
That's what we have. It's different. And but it's amazing how, the young man's coming in and accepting the responsibility of the position. And Joey's doing an incredible job of getting the information to him so he can comprehend it and disseminate it inside of a play. So I'm excited about the entire position as a whole.
Well, that's a good tease.
Absolutely.
That's a good tease. Let's hold on. We'll talk about that in the next segment. We'll talk about Joe Milton. Gaston Moore put on a good performance yesterday. He was running with the threes, but, nobody ever wants to get to a third quarterback. But from a spring game, you'd have to walk away saying, okay, he looks like he can handle it. So we'll discuss all that, the quarterbacks, and is the job locked up? We're talking like it is. Is it locked up for Joe Milton? That's next on the Sports Source.